Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Onward tonight. Not stuck on a beach, unfortunately, but not in the normal place. But let's start off. Jose Mourinho in a back or sack me report plea that Manchester United will either back him in the January transfer window or Mourinho will be looking elsewhere. Also, Paul Scholes has had his say. Gary Neville yesterday. Paul Scholes his today, which will be interesting as well. And on top of that, we've also got a very interesting thing just to keep in your thoughts. We're going to be delving into this a little bit. Went off a bit on Twitter today. You should always follow at United Stand MUFC because it went off today because I made a statement along the lines of there's not many players I would take from Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea or Spurs. So you are the United Stand. You are the community. I want to know who you would take seriously and I'm going to have my passionate say as well. But let's start off with Jose Mourinho. Back me or sack me. That's effectively where we're at with this. Now, we've got some positives from this summer transfer window, let's be honest. We've got De Gea staying. Some people didn't think that would happen. Pogba's definitely going to stay. Barcelona have now come out and said that they really do rate Paul Pogba, but they're not interested in signing him. That's because they know they can't sign him. And things are looking positive. If we can keep Anthony Martial, that's looking positive as well. So we've done that side of things is good. Obviously, keeping Fellaini is not so good. But Jose Mourinho has said to Marcus Rojo and Matteo Darmian that they can leave Manchester United anytime they want to go, but he would like them to stay until January, which, look, Darmian and Rojo, how we can afford to get rid of them at the moment when we didn't buy players ourselves to bring in. A lot of people are already going on about Trippier, Kante and Kane. Says buy 2-0. Keep it back for the moment because we will be going on about that in a minute. The chair is getting jealous of the couch, says George Kyle. But no, let me just say this, that what I read into that is that Jose Mourinho would like to keep Rojo and Darmian at the club until January because January is really going to be the pinch point at Manchester United. I think this transfer window has been a joke and it's gone. Mourinho didn't get the players that he wanted. We've talked about it plenty of times. Woodward was going for unrealistic targets such as Varane and people like that. And Mourinho ended up potless with nobody. So what about Devil Beard Gaming says big up for Rants and Flex show from earlier. Yeah, very good. Make sure you give it a watch. But what does this mean for Jose Mourinho? And I think that Jose Mourinho is actually getting quite a lot of his authority is declining. And I'd imagine he's quite irritated by this. I've said this before. If you think about it, all these rumours about Manchester United are basically saying to Paul Pogba that, you know, you're bigger than the club. You've got to stay. All the negative press that Mourinho's getting, all the Manchester United greats coming out, pretty much saying it's painful to watch. The board not backing him. Some fans wanting him out. It's not a great position for Jose Mourinho. And I read a really good quote today. I think it was in the Times that, you know what? Actually, everybody's been very, very unfair on Jose Mourinho because he's still a man who won a Champions League with Porto and Inter against all the odds. And yes, it was a few years ago, but he still managed to do it. He's still a man who took Manchester United to second place last season, despite everybody saying Spurs and Liverpool were much better teams. He's still a man who won a Europa League with a Van Gaal team. You know, he's still a man who, on paper, is one of the best managers in the world. Certainly the top 3 managers in the world. So I believe Mourinho deserves this season. I've always said that. It's always been something people have said to me. How the hell can you be backing Jose Mourinho? He plays bad football. He's bad for the club. All that. And I said, look, the reality is, I think 3 years is enough for Mourinho for him to show us what he's all about. And George Carl says he's going to eat his own hands if we buy anyone in January, which is the long-winded point I'm going to come to for George and everybody else, is Jose Mourinho, some people think he won't be here in January, which I suppose is an interesting point. But if Jose Mourinho is here in January, the club have got to back him. And I say if he's here in January, if we are in the top 4 and we are within a chance of winning a title, then surely they've got to back Jose Mourinho. And I think that is what Jose Mourinho is basically looking at, a situation of, yeah, you can tell Paul Pogba is more important than me. Yeah, you cannot back me in the transfer window. Yeah, the fans can be against me. The press can be against me. Maybe some people on the board are against me. But if I've got us in contention for a title in the top 4 come January, you better back me or I'm going to get out when the going's good. And I just feel, and I've come to the point here, I just feel that when it comes to Jose Mourinho, he's got his back to the wall now, 100%. And I just feel that he wants to get himself into a situation now where he proves the doubters wrong and get out of Manchester United. I think that damage has been done. I think the board not backing him and the way he perceives he's been treated, I think it's now about getting the best he can out of this situation at Manchester United. And when he gets back to a situation which is peaking, overachieving, he will get out. Unless the club do something massive and back him. And you know what? I don't know what people think in the live comments. I think that Manchester United should have gone for Alderweireld this summer. He wasn't necessarily my first choice, but I think they should have gone for Alderweireld this summer because he was available this summer and we needed a centre-back this summer. So I think that we should have done that. Let's take a few comments. He lost the dressing room and with the same set of players, the wig man Conte won the league, says Manchester United forever 79. Well, no. Conte bought Kante. Makes a big difference to your midfield. Top 4 is sure by January is a possibility, says Simon. And why sign Toby in January when we can get him on a pre-contract, says Statman 90. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about Alderweireld, but yeah, Alderweireld would be available for, I believe he's available for about, he's available for £25 million, isn't he, next summer? So that would be interesting with him. But I'm sympathetic of Mourinho because of the way the board backed him. At the end of the day, I mean, maybe Jose Mourinho doesn't fit in with the history of what Manchester United's all about. But what Jose Mourinho does fit in with is winning trophies and being successful at doing that. And I think that what's happened with Manchester United, certainly this summer, is that we haven't backed a manager. And I don't think that's ever right. I don't think that's ever right. Talking about backing managers, I do want to take as many comments as possible. Bishwash says we are Manchester United and we should back our manager. There's a really good comment here from Positive Energy, aptly named, saying Pogba's a World Cup winner. And I think that's really important. And I think this is a difficult one for Jose Mourinho. He's got to play this very, very cleverly. And he's got to make Paul Pogba the captain. Who's with me on that? Drop a like on the video if you think Paul Pogba should be captain. Let's hit it, because he's already made a comment. And I think it was Zed Jamie messaged me about this the other day. And he said, did you see Mourinho's interview? He basically said that Valencia is his captain, but he's not available for the moment. Now, that worries me because that's the old Mourinho. That's the Mourinho that people think isn't going to change. That Mourinho is wrong. He absolutely has got to play the game at United from now on. He's got to play the game. He's got to be clever, and he's got to try and win the crowd. It's a bit like Gladiator. Win the crowd and you win the game. And he has got to try and win the crowd. And to do that, Valencia, I tweeted it out today thinking it would be an unpopular opinion. I genuinely did. I said, unpopular opinion, Antonio Valencia is a crap captain. And everyone said it's not an unpopular opinion. It's a popular opinion. He is a crap captain. And whether he's a crap captain or not, make Paul Pogba your captain and you will win a lot of positivity from Manchester United fans. Do it, Jose. Don't be stubborn. We know he's a stubborn man, but I feel at the moment, I almost feel like, and I think a lot of United fans feel like this, that they want, for all that he's done wrong, for all his negativity, we are where we are, we've got what we've got, and he is our manager. And I think teams like Liverpool are getting all this, and Man City, and even Spurs, and even Chelsea with Sarri football, they're getting all this positive focus from the press and the pundits, and it's all about how rubbish United are. And whatever we are, and whatever we think about Manchester United and Jose Mourinho, we are Manchester United fans. And I just feel at the moment that, yeah, the Leicester result wasn't great, but I've got so much passion and so much fight for Manchester United. I want us to go and beat Brighton. I want us to go and beat Spurs. I want us to keep shoving two fingers up at everybody who's against us and proving them wrong. Not because I love the way Mourinho plays football, not because I love Marouane Fellaini, but because I love Manchester United. And if Fellaini scores a hat-trick and we grind it out against Spurs, I don't care, because Manchester United win a football game. And that's how I feel at the moment. I'm very Jose in. I'm very much behind Manchester United because I'm very fed up of the negativity that's floating around our club. So I hope Jose can prove a few people wrong. But to keep me on side, he's got to do the things that make me happy and make you happy. And that is one of the quick wins there, is make Paul Pogba the captain. Give Paul Pogba that responsibility. Because if you don't, and Pogba does stay and Martial does stay, and you keep doing the things like picking Sanchez when he's not that good, then the trouble's always going to be there. Let's give this season a proper good go. Let's really give it a go. Which brings me on to the next thing I wanted to discuss. Paul Scholes, I read this in the Metro just before I went live, basically asked whether he thinks Manchester United can win the title. And in so many words, has said that, no, I don't think we can win the title. I think that we are, the quality is with Manchester City and Liverpool to a certain extent. Now, Scholes, he's been negative in the past about Manchester United. He's been negative in the past about Van Gaal, and the class of '92 negativity. The class of '92 mafia, as they call them. I love them. Is starting to infiltrate the Mourinho thing. Gary Neville's always been quite clever about what he said, but he did say it was painful to watch in the news that came out last night, and that this is not the Manchester United that they want to see. And now Paul Scholes has had his saying that, I want Manchester United to win the league, but I can't see them winning the league. We don't know what team they play. We don't know what the philosophy is, and they lack the quality that Man City and to a certain extent Liverpool have after the signings they've made. Now, look, it's anybody can say that any club in England lacks the quality that Manchester City do. Of course they do. Everybody knows that. They won the title by 20 points. You've got to be respectful of that. No matter how much more money Pep Guardiola's had to spend in the rest of the league, and he's had a lot, you cannot dismiss a team that wins the title by 20 points and plays good football. It is what it is. And if we can get close to them, we can get close to them. But where I do draw a line at is, for what reason are Liverpool now classed better than Manchester United? Now, I know I'm a very divisive figure, and I know we've got Liverpool fans watching here. But if you are watching, that's up to you. If you want to watch a Manchester United fan channel, that's up to you. But listen to me on this one. Manchester United finished second last season, but comfortably over Liverpool. Liverpool signed a good couple of players this summer, but they've beaten West Ham 4-0. We beat West Ham 4-0 last season. I'm getting a little bit irritated by... And Chelsea is starting to come into the equation now with the press as well. And Spurs, it's like we're starting from Arsenal. It's like we are the 5th or 6th best club in England. It's like everybody is pitying Manchester United. And I'm getting a little bit irritated by it as a Manchester United fan. And I think as United fans, we do need to start fighting back and being vocal about our club. Because I disagree with Paul Scholes on the quality of Liverpool. What quality? They got to a Champions League final and they got found out. And yes, they did well against Man City, but Klopp knows how to beat Pep like Mourinho knows how to beat Klopp. It's just a flaw in them in Pep, and it's a flaw in Klopp. Klopp doesn't know how to grind Mourinho down, and Pep doesn't know how to go toe-to-toe with Klopp. So apart from that, they beat Porto and Roma, got to a final and got schooled by Madrid and finished lower than us in the league. So yes, their football's good, but I think that people are sleeping on Manchester United, and long may it continue. And I really hope that United are going to really, really push home. Because, as I said last night, Manchester United finished second last season, and I thought we were generally crap. We were crap last season, and I thought, we did finish second. It's a fact. I still think, and this comes on to my next point where I really want to get into the live comments. Let's just have a few things, what people have said about Scholes. Scholes can be prickly, says Phil Foster. Well, look, the reality is that the class of 92 don't like the way that Giggs was treated by the club that they gave a lot to. Class of 92 are legends when it comes to Manchester United, and they did renege on a promise to Ryan Giggs. So I don't think that... but then again, Nicky Butt works in the club, doesn't he? So... don't like the kind of videos you usually upload, but just wanted to say the Salah video was boss, says Jacob Ashton, who I think is a Liverpool fan. And that was on my channel, by the way. If anybody hasn't watched that on my channel, it's had a lot of views and it's had a lot of likes. The Mark Goldbridge live stream. Watch it after this. Good one. You can't say people are sleeping on us when we lost to Sevilla by parking the bus, Mark. Alec, that comment is totally and utterly irrelevant. That was the Champions League back in March. This is a new season, and we finished second last season, and I do think that there should be some consideration for that, because Scholes has got high expectations for United, says Leon. But look, let's get into this point. Let's get into this one. We finished second last season, and we didn't play very well. we are currently dealing with all pundits, all press, and even, this is the best one, even Manchester United fans today on our Twitter feed, right? The question was, what players would you take from Manchester City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea at Manchester United? And I said, I would take very few, and that shows you what we can be if, and we're undercooked. We are undercooked. The Manchester United team under Jose Mourinho is undercooked. If he turns the heat up and cooked it properly, you imagine how good we'd be with Pogba playing at his best 80% of the time, with Pereira now, Fred, Martial, Sanchez, Lindelof, Lingard, Bailly, Lukaku, Rashford. If all those players were playing to their potential, we would be a very, very, very good team. And we're already a team that finished second place. Now, this is the comment I wanted straight away. And I'm going to pull it up because you might be quite naive. But Jamila Abdullah says, I'd take Salah. I'm stunned by that. I really am stunned by that. I'll tell you this now. I'm going to start off and be nice to Liverpool here. Most real Liverpool fans understand the rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool. They would rather have Karius in goal than David De Gea. Not because Karius is better than De Gea. De Gea is probably the best goalkeeper in the world. But most Liverpool fans, real fans, would not want a Manchester United player coming to their club because the rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool matters more than having a decent goalkeeper, matters more than having a better player. Players come and go, managers come and go, but the club and the rivalry they have with Manchester United matters more than an individual player. There is no way in a million years Liverpool Football Club would take David De Gea there because it doesn't mean anything. If you're going to do that, you may as well pack up your history, pack up your trophies and forget about what this great rivalry is all about. So for all the people, look, Mo Salah is undoubtedly Premier League Player of the Year last year and he's undoubtedly one of the best players in Europe. But I would not take him at Manchester United in a million years. And I know there's some of the newer breed United fans out there that would. Of course they would. Because they'd think, well, I don't care about that. I just want a good player at my club. But I would never in a million years take Mo Salah or any other Liverpool player at Manchester United. And that's why I think it goes back to the mid-60s. There has never been a player that has gone directly from Liverpool to United or United to Liverpool. There has been people like Paul Ince who've gone via Inter Milan, and there is people like Michael Owen who have gone via Newcastle and Real Madrid. But it doesn't happen, and it shouldn't happen in my mind, because Manchester United and Liverpool, you know, we might not be winning titles by 20 points. We might not have £600 million a season to spend or whatever they get. But nobody, Man City will never buy that rivalry. Arsenal will never buy that rivalry. Liverpool, Manchester United is probably the biggest football rivalry in the world. It's certainly the biggest in England. And it matters. It matters. So a hypothetical doesn't even exist when it comes to Liverpool and Manchester United. And it works both ways. I think if Liverpool were sat there saying, what players would you take from United, City, whatever, well, they go, well, we take none from United straight away because I'd rather play, you know, Dot Cotton in goal than David De Gea. And from a United perspective, my perspective, and I believe a lot of United fans, Liverpool don't even come into it. I can look at them and go, well, Salah's a good player, but I wouldn't want him at the club. Who would I take from City? I mean, I suppose some Manchester fans would say I don't want any City players as well. Tevez did it. Personally, look, I suppose it's easier if I said this. Who would I never give up in a United team? De Gea in goal. He's not going anywhere. Lindelof and Bailly, there's no centre-back I'd swap for. I mean, a lot of people talk about Van Dijk. One, he's a Liverpool player. Two, 6 months in a Liverpool team that's not challenged for a title or won anything. No, not for me. But he's a Liverpool player. He's good, but he's a Liverpool player. City, I don't really rate their centre-backs any better than Bailly and Lindelof. Chelsea, again, don't rate any of their centre-backs better. Spurs, I'll be honest with you, I think Alderweireld's a good player, and maybe we should have gone for him. So maybe Alderweireld, but I'm more than happy with Lindelof and Bailly. Midfield-wise, I wouldn't swap Pereira, Fred, Pogba for anybody. I know it's early days, but Pereira, I really think can be fantastic. I think Fred's going to be really good. And Pogba, I wouldn't swap for anybody. Lukaku, I wouldn't swap for anybody. You could argue Harry Kane. You could argue Aguero, but I've got no reason to want to swap Lukaku. And then Martial for me. I mean, I know he doesn't play regularly, but I wouldn't swap him for anybody. So the weak areas that I would go for United is probably what most people would go for. I would go with, here's a question. Would anyone take an Arsenal player, says David Silver? I'd rather take a Burnley player. But would I? So right back, left back, and right midfielder are the three positions that I would look at, and maybe centre back. Oh, what a surprise. They were the players we were meant to sign this summer. So right back from any of our rivals. Kyle Walker from Man City. I've got to be honest. I do rate him. Trippier from Spurs. So Walker or Trippier for me. I think Ericsson or Vertonghen, says Hannibal Wolf. So yeah, right back would be Trippier or Walker, and I'd probably go Trippier because I prefer Trippier's right foot, and also I think Spurs, he's not a City player. Left back, I wouldn't go Mendy. I don't rate Mendy. I'm happy with Luke Shaw. Chelsea's left back, no. Liverpool's left back, never, because he's a Liverpool player. Spurs left back, Ben Davies is quite good, but you know what? I'm a United player. I'm a United fan. I want Luke Shaw to do well, so that would be it for me. We're talking rivals, so Alexandro doesn't play for a rival. A lot of people are saying Alexandro. We're talking about what players we'd take from Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs. Arsenal are nowhere. And then right midfield, I can see why people would say Salah, but I would never take a Liverpool player. So Marcus Alonso from Chelsea, maybe. Right midfield, Spurs, Ericsson. Yeah, maybe Ericsson. I mean, I do like Leroy Sané, but I'd prefer Anthony Martial. So a lot of people saying Sané as well. But yeah, I'd take Trippier from Spurs. I'd keep Luke Shaw at left back, to be honest. And I'd take Ericsson. So yeah. And Sané at a push. I do like Sané, but you know, obviously I would never take a Liverpool player because I don't want a Liverpool player. Kante, says Breach69. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with Kante, but to be honest with you, I think the theme of this show effectively is let's back the team and let's back the manager. And you know, I can't honestly sit here and win a debate that De Bruyne is worse than Fred, and I can't win a debate that Pereira's worse than Kante, and I can't better, and I can't probably win a debate that Lindelof is better than Alderweireld. But as I sit here now and I look at this Manchester United team, I know, because I love Manchester United and I'm loyal to United, I know that from our current setup at the moment, I wouldn't swap De Gea, Bailly, Lindelof, Shaw, Pereira, Fred, Pogba, Martial, Lukaku for anybody in the Premier League. I'd take Trippier and I'd take Ericsson to do the right-hand side. But I wouldn't swap anybody. Now, it doesn't mean there's not better players out there. As I said, Mo Salah's better than our right midfielder. Of course he is, but he plays for Liverpool. That negates it to me. I don't want any Liverpool players at Manchester United, and any Liverpool fan worth their salt wouldn't take any Manchester United player at their club, no matter how they're good, because the rivalry matters. So that's the positive I'm trying to say here, is that I don't know whether Gary Neville said this, but I read it as a headline today, but I didn't have time to read the article. And it was something along the lines of, Gary Neville doesn't want to see Mourinho leave because if Pochettino came in, it's another revolution. It's another season of selling players and buying players. But you know what? I sort of disagree with that. I think Manchester United are well primed. I don't know what you lot think, but I think Manchester United are well primed. I mean, Andrew Taylor's just said I'll take Pochettino. But look, I want Mourinho to be successful. If he isn't successful, right, and next summer we've got pretty much the same squad, which is looking likely. I mean, Darmian and Rojo will probably leave. I'm hopeful that we're going to keep Martial now because we haven't bought anybody. So next summer we'll probably be in the same position as we are now, squad-wise. If Mourinho was to leave Manchester United and Pochettino or Zidane or Jardim or whoever came in, why would we need wholesale changes? Because if I walked into Manchester United tomorrow or you walked into Manchester United tomorrow, I think the big thing that would change would be the style of play. I'd still be very happy to have left-back Luke Shaw. I'd be very happy to have Bailly and Lindelof as my centre-backs. I'd be very happy to have De Gea in goal. I'd be very happy to have a midfield of Fred and Pogba and Matic and Pereira to choose from. I'd probably buy somebody else to give me a little bit more depth in there, but, you know, and I'd kick Fellaini out and I'd loan McTominay. But those four, with another addition, I'd be happy with that. My attackers, I'd be happy with Lukaku. I'd be happy with Martial. I'd get the best out of Martial. I'd be happy with Rashford. I'd get the best out of Rashford. I'd be okay with Lingard. I'd be okay with Sanchez. And I'd probably buy another one. So I don't think Manchester United need... I think when Van Gaal took over from Moyes. We needed players, and he bought a lot, and some of them were bad. When Mourinho took over from Van Gaal, we needed a lot of work, and let's applaud Jose for that, because he's actually moved out a lot of the crap that Van Gaal bought. Mourinho said when the next manager comes into Manchester United, it will be in a better place. And I think from a squad perspective, he's right. I don't think maybe a morale perspective, maybe a football style perspective, he'll be wrong. But I certainly think a decent manager could walk into that Manchester United team tomorrow and add one or two players and be ready to go. Because I'd be very angry with a new manager coming in and selling Lindelof and Bailly, or moving on Pereira and Fred and Pogba, or moving on Martial and Lukaku. We've got the fundamentals of a very good team at Manchester United. And I think I've gone full circle there, because that's my point, is that I think a lot of people are sleeping on Manchester United. The big defining point is what Jose Mourinho does, because I believe with the right style and the right motivation, that team's very, very good. Very good. We've got some very, very good players. I think in Lukaku, you've got one of the best number 9s in the world. In Pogba, you've got one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the world. In Bailly, you've got one of the best centre-backs in the world if he can stay fit. In De Gea, you've got the best goalkeeper in the world. That's your spine. That's your spine. And you've got 4 of the best players in the world, potentially. Not to mention potential that we've got there. I think Lindelof, Shaw, Pereira, Fred, Martial, Rashford, the potential they've got is amazing if we get the best out of them. The big, big question mark is, will Jose Mourinho get the best out of this team and these players this season? That's the question we're all waiting for. That is the hope and belief that we're all hanging on to. So it is intriguing to see. It is intriguing to see. Eric Bay's worth every pound spent, says Fitz. And Stephen Dillon, how do United get Martial to sign a new contract? Well, I wouldn't worry too much about Martial's contract, because if we can keep him this summer, then we will be okay. We will be okay. I'm going to read this comment just so we can all remember it as well. D_G1 says, mark my words, when we play Spurs, we will batter them. We've got a very good record against Spurs, and I hope that we can keep it. But they're a good team, and it's going to be a good test for us. And we're going to need to be up for it, and we're going to need to be very, very careful. Apparently, I've gone mad, says David. I don't know why. You need to tell me why. And Murph2898 says, back Jose. Real supporters support the manager no matter what. Fans only care when we win. We used to have supporters. I sort of disagree with you there. Because I think Mourinho's been here long enough now that fans have every right to make their mind up on him. And I think some United fans have made their mind up on Mourinho based on the way he treats players and the way he plays football. But where I would agree with you, Murph, is that in this little window of a start of a new season and a potential new page being turned, let's back Jose, let's back the club, let's see what he does. If he reverts to making Valencia captain, giving up possession, not pressing the ball, not creating chances, then he's going to lose, isn't he? So it's going to be very, 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 very interesting. But at the moment, we should keep hope. We should keep hope, and we should back our club, because nothing's going to give me more satisfaction than proving all these people wrong who seem to just think, I'll tell you a fact now. City, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea fans, they think we're going to struggle this season. They think that top 4 and maybe even a title run, if they're lucky, in the case of Spurs, Liverpool and Chelsea, is there. But Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool and City, they think they're top 4. They think they're top 4 because they think United are going to struggle. Some United fans think we're going to struggle as well. And at the moment, I don't. I think that this team, so much depends on Jose. I'm not going to lie about that. He's got to get us playing the right way, and he's got to get rid of the stubborn favourite attitude. Personally, I think against Brighton, and I'll talk about it later in the week, I think he should drop Alexis Sanchez. I think Rance was right. I think Sanchez should be dropped, because any other player played like that last year, they'd be dropped. So I would agree with that. But Dan Pipe says, I agree. I think United are being underestimated. 4 of the best players in the world, says David Niblock. 2, I could go along with that. But come on, Mark, really? No, I didn't say we've got 4 of the best players in the world. What I said is, De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world. Pogba's arguably the best box-to-box midfielder in the world, because he's proven that in the World Cup. And at Juventus. United a little bit, but I still think He's arguably one of the best centre midfielders in the world. Lukaku's definitely one of the top number 9s in the world. I'm sorry. He's consistently scored a lot of goals in the Premier League, and he's scored a lot of goals for Belgium. So you look, he might have a clumsy first touch, but he still is. And Eric Bailly, mark my words, if he stays fit, anybody who watched him against Leicester or when he's played well for us in the past, Eric Bailly is undoubtedly in the top 10 centre-backs in the world. And there's some very, very good centre-backs in the world at the moment. He can go into the top 5. He's young enough. He needs to stay fit. So what I said is we've got 2 of the best players in the world, and we've got another 2 who are knocking on the door, certainly. Stephen Dillon, Jose is trapped into picking Sanchez. I am a little bit worried about that, Stephen, to be honest. I am a little bit worried about that. It does feel that that is the case. Murph's back again. Real supporters back their manager no matter what. Fair weather fans only care when we are winning. Now, you see, I think you made a good point before. I think you've ruined it now because that's wrong. I think that is that, and it's only my opinion, obviously, so it doesn't mean it's wrong in the bigger collective because some people might stick with you, Murph. But I think real fans support the manager no matter what. Well, what if we go to Brighton at the weekend? He puts Fellaini in goal and we get beat 10-0. Are you going to come on the show on Skype and say real fans back the manager? You know, if we're not Sith Lords, we don't deal in absolutes. There is a grey area, and also I think that mentality is a little bit like the Pied Piper. You follow his tune off the cliff, and you've got to have your own mate. You've got to have your own mind. Now, I like Jose Mourinho and I back Jose Mourinho, but it won't stop me criticising him because I've said this so many times. In your life, whether it's family members or people you work for, don't just go with their opinion just because you respect them, because they will make mistakes. And sometimes in life, no matter how much you respect somebody, you're the better person if you actually point out a mistake that they're making. They might not want to listen to you, but if you believe it's a mistake, then you're not being truthful to yourself. So look, I'm not one of those people that think you're a top fan if you back the manager no matter what happens, or you're a top fan just because you support the club win, lose or draw. Because, well, we all support the club win, lose or draw. So I do agree with that. But I don't agree with you're a real if you back the manager no matter what. I think sometimes it takes a real fan to take a stand against something you don't agree with. It was a very difficult one for me when I went against Van Gaal, but I did. For the last 4 months, I wanted rid of him, and it wasn't nice, and I hated it. I used to get a lot of abuse from it for some fans, and some fans agreed with me. But so I'm not scared to go Mourinho out. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you're scared to go Mourinho out. You obviously haven't been watching the United stand long enough." I'm not scared to go Mourinho out. I did it with Van Gaal, but at the moment, I want to give him this season. I want to back him, and I want him to do well. Swap Neil Thite says, I got positive vibes with Mourinho's attitude during the first game. Definitely. I don't think many people predicted that, and I think he surprised a few people. So he did very, very well with that, and hopefully that can continue into his next press conference. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody. We've had quite a few. I've enjoyed the video tonight. I wasn't going to do a live stream tonight, but then I was like, you know what? 8 o'clock, we should do it because I'm not where I normally am, but I was like, sod it, I'll go and do it. United stand matters, the community matters. And Mark's on drugs, apparently, says Andrew Griffiths. I love comments like that because they mean absolutely nothing, because in half an hour I talk about a lot of things. So I don't know what you're on about. If you're going to disagree with me, let me know. True fans will go against the grainers. It's more than football. It's part of life, says Manu Moore. I like that. Aubrey says, speak about rivalry versus fair football analysis. Really trying for you to respond to this. I don't really understand what you mean with that one, to be honest. Maybe if you comment a little bit more, I can do that. I need the live comments to start moving because it's making me go out of focus. Ben Carpenter says, Mark, I'm a United fan, but are you feeling all right? There's a few people saying that tonight, but I don't know in what context you mean. I picked United to win the league. We can do it, says Nick. If we get who would you be our next manager, says Estrine? Too early for me, that. Hemorrhage says, come on, Mark, you can't bench Sanchez. He's world class. He could have easily got 2 assists last match, says Hemorrhage. Well, I'll talk about Sanchez and whether I'd bench him or not in the preview. But I would play Martial over Sanchez anyway. I've always been very consistent at that. I prefer Martial. The players are rusty. Jose will never change, says Pete Morris. Well, that's something I can't answer at the moment, Pete. Hopefully he will. And Ronald is in China, and he says, hope you enjoyed your vacation. Sanchez definitely has a can't drop me in his contract. I don't think he does, because he did miss a game after the West Brom game last season. So, I mean, we'd all like to see Sanchez given a chance on the right wing, wouldn't we? But whether that'll ever happen or not, I don't know. Oh, Aubrey says, you argue about not thinking Liverpool have a better team than us, but then when does personal bias leave the argument? Okay, Aubrey. Okay, so basically what Aubrey's saying is that I will never accept Liverpool are better than us because of the rivalry. And Balaj says, pacey midfield, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, well, hopefully we're going to get that with the three that we've got. No, you know what? Obviously, I think Liverpool fans would empathise with this as much as Manchester United fans would. Of those United fans who, Happy Independence Day to all Indians here, says Dear Pan. There you go. Happy Independence Day. But, yeah, so Liverpool fans, look, I'm not really bothered about Liverpool fans giving me stick, because it works both ways. If they actually had the Liverpool stand and they had a fan channel that did things like us, then they would probably get a load of stick from United fans, but they don't. They're from the fan channels that I've seen, which do good jobs, they don't really do content like us, so they don't get the same sort of debate or interest from United fans. So, of course, rivalry matters, and I'm a massive fan of the rivalry that Manchester United and Liverpool have. You know, the rivalry's there because we're very similar. There's definite hatred there within the rivalry, but there's definite respect deep down there. But when I say that I don't respect Paul Scholes' decision, opinion that Liverpool have got more quality than us, well, it's his opinion, and Paul Scholes is a Manchester United great, but I don't have to respect his opinion on that. And I don't respect his opinion because how do you gauge quality? Is quality being attacking football, or is quality winning things? Because actually, when you look at what Mourinho has achieved at Manchester United in a lesser time than what Klopp has achieved at Liverpool, Mourinho's won 2 trophies and finished above him last season. We didn't win 2 trophies last season, we won them the before. So Liverpool, I think Liverpool win a moral quality argument. They do play good football, I can't argue with that. And they probably play a brand of football that I would like United to see, and I would concede that. But I will not concede that Liverpool are better than Manchester United on some speculative crap that pundits are spinning and the press are spinning. Because the reality is you're only as good as what you've achieved factually. And the facts are, in the last 2 years, United have won 2 more trophies and they finished second above Liverpool, most recently. So what are we going to do? Say Liverpool are better than Manchester United because they've got a better goal difference after 1 game? Come on, you know, let's have a look at it. I'm a firm believer that you look at everything at Christmas. But at the moment, and this isn't digging Liverpool out. I wouldn't expect Liverpool to concede anything to us either. But right now, I refuse to concede that Liverpool have got more quality than us. We finished second last season above them. And this season, it's way too early to gauge what either team's going to do. I think Liverpool will beat Palace away on Monday night, but they might not, and we might beat Brighton on the weekend, and then we're above them. I'm sorry, after 2 games, if we've got 6 points and they've got 3 points, you could say we've got more quality than them. I personally would like to say, let's have a look at it in October, November time. It might be gauged earlier before that, but Manchester United are definitely the club that I back because I'm a Manchester United fan. And I don't need to concede quality to anybody else. I think the only team I would concede quality to at this moment in time, because I can't argue with it, is Manchester City. Because they comfortably won the league. They've kept the same players. And they look like they're going to pick up where they left off. Manchester United, what we're waiting to see is, are we going to learn from the mistakes of last season? Is Jose Mourinho going to give us what we need? He knows he knows what we need. We know what we need. Will he allow himself to do it, or will he be the stubborn Jose? And that's what we're going to find out over the coming weeks. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video because it is a weird one tonight. Thanks for the contribution, Bilaj. And I shall speak to you all tomorrow. Make sure, if you didn't watch the video I did on my channel, just go to Goldbridge live stream on Mo Salah. It's done more views than I thought it would, and it's had quite a lot of likes. And Liverpool fans, to be fair to them, fair play, they've really interacted with it as well. So it's a bit of fun. It's about Mo Salah and his traffic problem. Goldbridge live stream. Go and give it a find and give it a watch, and make sure you drop a subscribe on that because I'm having a bit of fun on that channel as well. But thanks everyone for watching, and if you've not seen Flex and Rants, their video from lunchtime, very, very good. Real talk, real MUFC talk. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Back tomorrow, and have a good evening.